Boy, these are spicy snickerdoodles.
What?
The cinnamon has some spice to it.
Huh. Maybe they accidentally put some cayenne in there or put cayenne in there to make up for the fact that it's like a raw vegan cookie dough snickerdoodle.
Yeah, like the dough is still it's still flowing.
Yes.
That's how undercooked it is.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there is Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Instagram and Bluesky at namely90s with a 90s. You can also find us on YouTube every Monday at youtube.com/@namely90s. And if you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/namely90s, also with a 90s, and get signed up for one of our support levels.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Wait.
So busy week.
Yeah.
Washington Huskies lose a heartbreaker to the Michigan Harbaugh's Wolverines, I think.
Wolverine sounds right.
Sounds like the officiating left a bit to be desired, but ultimately probably wasn't the difference maker in that game.
No, definitely was not the difference maker in that game. I watched most of that game.
Now, let me be clear. Like, I would say, is it fair to say we're both like fans of local team football, but not like football fanatics?
Yes. And I mean, we're fans of football.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the Huskies since I was a kid. So I probably had slightly more stakes than you did.
Well, for context, I'm from the rival school to the Huskies, Washington State University.
True.
But in this scenario, like, Wazoo Coug did as usual. They kind of had a promising start to their season, but like no one else is doing anything meaningful in this state. And so I was rooting for the Huskies in this scenario. Like, nice. You have to. And I was in the city of Seattle watching this game in a bar. Mm-hmm. Like, the atmosphere was pretty intense. It was cool.
Yeah. I watched it at my house, then drove to a game night and where we continued to watch it. It was, the game wasn't, I think it was 2013 when I left, and it was still that when I got there. And then it just kept going downhill. But yeah, it wasn't their best performance. Michigan deserves that win.
Well, now Jim Harbaugh will be the coach of the Raiders, it sounds like. And
really,
in other coaching news, Seattle legend Pete Carroll announced his retirement on the day of our recording, and some people would say he was fired from the team.
Yes.
I mean that's probably true. It was probably time, but this guy's a total legend. I was actually sad today, like it actually kind of, not that I'm not invested in it, but it kind of hit me,
I have thoughts.
Okay.
Pete Carroll with the team decided that quote unquote with the team decided
Pete Carroll was let go today.
No, he was let go as a head coach, but he's staying on in an advisory role, most likely for 2 years to finish out that contract that he has until 2025.
He'll probably be a better advisor than Aaron Rodgers. He's too busy blowing Pat McAfee and like saying nasty stuff about Jimmy Kimmel.
Mm-hmm. And not taking his vaccine.
The COVID vaccine is why that airplane door fell off, by the way, in Portland. Didn't you know that?
That makes sense.
Someone's 5G activated the door release.
Yeah, that makes so much sense in a city that is known to be anti-vax. But like old school anti-vax.
Pat McAfee's like, someone at ESPN's trying to sabotage you. Yes, you're right. His name is Pat McAfee, you douchebag.
But yeah, Pete Carroll he's sticking with the team. He gave us 14 good years. I once said I want to say it was a Facebook status from 2014 when we won the championship, the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I wrote, never in a million years would I have thought I would say the words "I love Pete Carroll," because he single-handedly destroyed the Pac-10 back in the day when he was coach at USC, with all of his recruiting violations that went under the radar, and then he became the Seahawks head coach. So, hated him up until he started doing good for the Seahawks. And
also,
he did great.
Nick Saban? I don't know how you say his name. He retired today too.
Saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the Bears coach? I don't.
No, Alabama.
OBS. That's right. Alabama.
I
Roll Tide
posted a video of Pete Carroll, kind of just as a to honor him and a thank you, and it was the one where he meets DK Metcalf for the first time. And he, of course, because DK Metcalf is who he is, walks into the room with his shirt off. And then Pete Carroll, without skipping a beat, takes his shirt off and shakes his hand. And everyone in the room just dies. It's great. I just feel like Pete Carroll was he was a defective coach because people wanted to play for him. Mm-hmm. Whereas you've got people like that D-bag from Denver, Sean Payton, who's a total a-hole, and he's totally of the old school. But you know what? Pete Carroll's of the old school, and he's a pretty legit guy, despite all the the violations and such.
Yeah.
But
well, maybe legit's not the right word in a legal context, but he is legit.
Yeah,
as in legit.
So
cool.
That was sad, but enough football talk, I guess.
I mean, I only have more sports things, sports adjacent related things.
I was at a sports bar before I got here.
Fair. I went rollerblading for the first time in 2 decades today.
How was that?
Spent
a lot of time on your knees, other than the usual.
No, actually, I should get used to falling, but I don't think I need to. I went to we have a street hockey rink at one of the local parks, and it was pretty deserted except for the one girl skateboarding, trying to do manuals and kick flips. And then when she finally left, I had 5 minutes to myself just to go around the whole rink before another girl shows up, and she starts doing she had roller skates, and was doing flow and disco dancing on roller skates and such. So I was like,
whatever, bro, let's blade.
Aggressive inline, brah. Soul skating. Because last week, like I said, I was getting back into it, and that's why I wanted to do those two, Brink or Airborne. And I'm a loser who rollerblades in his 30s now, but it was fun. It was because the reason why I did it, I don't know if I mentioned this last podcast, but I went ice skating with my niece while I was back in the hometown over the holidays, and
you suffered an immediate and devastating concussion.
No, I managed to not fall that time either. Although I'll send you the video. My niece, she's a little prankster. She doesn't need the walker. You know how they have walkers that you can have on the ice so that you don't fall over.
Wow, really?
Yeah. She doesn't need it, but she took one, and then she just left it halfway around the ice on the rink. And I'm like, well, I don't want this in the way of all the people that are going to trip over it. So I grabbed it and then used it all the way back from halfway around the rink to the opening. And it was caught on video, so I'll send that to you later if you want it. But
I'll look into your future.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing goes up to my knees, so I was hunched over. But but it also the whole session, because I've been having like a mild case of Achilles tendonitis last year, and never really saw anyone for that. Probably should have, but it went away after I was ice skating, and then
you should
I was
see Aaron Rodgers guy.
I can't even imagine what Aaron Rodgers looks like, or how many drugs he would illegal drugs he would prescribe. But I figured, ice skating, rollerblading, similar balancing. So I figured
very similar.
Yeah, that would help out with that pain, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Because I have a balance board at home. I try to stay maybe not in shape, but at least like somewhat on top of it, and apparently not doing enough, because the balancing on skates are completely different than balancing on a balance board for some reason. I'm a soul skater now. That's all you need to know.
Well, I think that takes us through our opening intro.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, it was the Emmys over the weekends.
By the way, the Golden Globes.
Yes.
Which, by the way, really quick, I want to say, because I said this to you, for the Oscars, Barbie has been lumped into the adaptations category, and people are kind of like mad about it. But I'm confused as to how they're not considering Oppenheimer an adaptation, because it's literally based on a book. There you go. That's the patriarchy right there.
Yes. So yes, it was the Golden Globes last weekend, the weekend before last, when this comes out. It's the Emmys this past weekend. Right? No.
Who knows? In January sometime.
January 15th. Yeah, this past weekend. And so we thought we'd get ahead of the game and take you back in time and look at, because we haven't really done that many award show shout outs through the years. So I thought it'd be a good time to just look at some primetime Emmy wins from 1990 to 99. And then we can name the definitive winner of the 90s in the Namelies, the definitive awards for the 90s. Like that?
Yeah, I like it. It's good.
Yes. So starting out shows in the first category, we got Murphy Brown, we got Cheers, we got Seinfeld, we got Frasier for 5 times over the course of the 90s. Murphy Brown was twice, and finishing out the 90s was Ally McBeal.
These were comedies, by the way. Comedies.
Yes. Yeah. Was Ally McBeal a comedy? Because I thought it was a drama.
You had a dancing baby.
Did have a dancing baby. People laughed at it, but it was
ironically, wasn't funny.
It was just
well, you can't deny. I mean, Frasier won it 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like, I'm not gonna crap on the people who like Seinfeld, and I don't dislike it.
One of our previous guests almost got you to watch it.
It's not my strongest comedy in that list, and I
guess we did watch it. Yeah,
that combined with Frasier having won it 5 times, for me, it's Frasier.
Yeah. I would also say Frasier as well. I don't know how Cheers snuck in there, because I think that was season 11 Cheers that got on there, and
if Frasier had only won twice, I could be convinced to choose Seinfeld, but 5 times is nothing to sneeze at, And
I'm pretty sure it was the first 5 years of Frasier that got those noms. So the namely goes to in comedy for the 90s goes to Frasier.
You
want to do this next category?
All right. And in the drama category, we have LA Law, which won twice in a row, 3 times in a row if you include 1989. Northern Exposure, Picket
like
Fences twice, NYPD Blue, ER, Law and Order, and The Practice twice. Boy, what a field here.
I mean, yeah, a lot of police procedurals. Northern Exposure. You're not familiar with this? I mean, I might have mentioned it once, but are you familiar with the Northern Exposure? It was
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it was a comedy drama again. Sure, it wasn't a comedy. And it ran on CBS from 90 to 95.
I do kind of know about who was in it again?
It was
someone I know of.
Yes. Who was it? John Corbett?
No. Maybe not.
Rob Morrow, Cynthia.
We've talked about
Gary.
it, but no one's in it really.
Yeah. I mean, John Corbett was, he's known for things. He's Sarah Jessica Parker's something or other in Sex and the City. Really. Doesn't he dates her for a while in Sex and the City? My big fat Greek wedding. That's what he's from.
So this
but
list
it's
is rough.
It's set in Alaska, but it was shot in Washington somewhere. Where was it shot?
Yeah, it was.
Like Leavenworth or.
I never watched NYPD Blue.
But that
Law
was
and Order.
NYPD Blue, first network show to show butt on TV.
But Law and Order, like the original Law and Order, is borderline unwatchable. But I also think it's because
really?
They always play a low quality version of it, like on TNT. It's always like kind of weird.
Redmond. It was shot in Redmond. No, Roslyn, Washington.
Roslyn, yeah, by Salmon Lasac.
Yep.
For me, it's going to be ER because ER was a veritable sensation in the 90s.
Powerhouse.
And although other medical shows had been done, it had never been done like that. And I just think if it was the 2000s, no, ER would not win. It's the 90s. For me, it's ER.
Let's see. It won in 96, I think. Yeah. No, I don't know.
It probably should have won more than that, but it didn't.
I'll give you that. Do you want to award the namely to them?
All right, and the namely goes to ER.
Woo!
And the music plays. Are you gonna?
Yeah. We couldn't have done this without George Clooney.
Just put the Benny Hill music in.
Speaking of Benny Hill, we have variety shows next, starting with In Living Color. The 63rd Academy Awards won in 91 for Best Variety. The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. Saturday Night Live.
Johnny.
Saturday Night Live, the 1993. The Late Show with David Letterman won 3 times over the course of the 90s. The Tonight Show with Jay Leno won once. Dennis Miller Live won, and Tracy Takes On, which I had never heard of.
Okay. Dennis Miller's trash.
Mm-hmm.
Letterman's trash.
I thought Letterman was the one that was better than Leno.
Yeah, but Letterman is apparently like a big a-hole.
Okay, that's fair.
Which doesn't surprise me.
No.
Also, I don't like his beard.
He didn't have it in the 90s.
Doesn't matter. I never watched In Living Color. I understand it was very funny. I know that David Alan Grier was on that. And he was always a Loveline guest, and he was always hilarious.
And Jim Carrey, I believe, was on In Living Color. The one white guy.
Yeah, the one white guy. Oh, boy, this is
apparently we got to go back and watch the 63rd Academy Awards because it freaking won for the variety show. 1991 was just a really
I might take some
sad
flack
time
for this,
but
I actually kind of like Jay Leno. Like, I don't know. This list is not ideal.
If you're gonna shoot down Letterman, I'm gonna shoot down Leno.
Yeah, but for what?
For fucking over Conan.
Well, but no, in this list.
For what? Saturday Night Live. In
'93 was like.
That's a good point. That was. I feel like that was a transitional year. Yeah. I think that was like David Spade, Chris Farley. Let's see.
Was Sandler on it back then?
Yeah. They didn't hire any new cast members. 1993. Oh, it would have been 92's year, right? Is that how it works? Seasons. Nope.
I think it's for the award the year prior. Yeah, like Kevin Nealon on and.
Let's see. Cast members were Dana Carvey, Chris Farley, Phil Hartman, Victoria Jackson, Mike Myers, Kevin Nealon, Chris Rock, Julia Sweeney. Let's see. Middle players included Ellen Cleghorn, Siobhan Fallon. Are they related?
I doubt it.
Tim Meadows, Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider, David Spade. Let's see. Al Franken was a featured player. And Robert Smigel.
Okay. I'm going to say Saturday Night Live. That cast is tremendous.
That's a good cast.
That's...
All right. So the Ultimate 90s, the namely for Ultimate 90s variety show goes to Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
Yeah. All right.
Boy, that was a cast? That's insane.
Right? And Farley must have died that year or the next year. 97. Oh, snap. He kept going. Moving
on to our next. The speed kept him going until it didn't. Next category, lead comedy actor Ted Danson for Cheers ×2. Burt Reynolds in Evening Shade, which sounds like a romantic novel. Craig T. Nelson in Coach. Kelsey Grammer in Frasier ×3. And John Lithgow, Third Rock from the Sun ×3.
Evening Shade. Former professional football player Woodrow Wood Newton retires to his hometown of Evening Shade, Arkansas, and settles into a new job as coach of a high school football team with a long losing streak. The comedy series shines a light on rural America with a focus on the 3 F's: faith, family, and friends.
Wow, that sounds like garbage.
Yep.
Is that... No, that's terrible. And for some reason, I thought Burt Reynolds was...
dead.
No, was the same person as...
Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck, thank you. It's not like that just sounds like Blue Bloods, but like a football version.
Yep. And he had the mustache, too.
Family. So, like, I gave it to Frasier for the... for the series... But
and you also hate Third Rock from the Sun.
No, but I like John Lithgow now. Okay. Like he's kind of grown on me. It's like a slow burn.
I like John Lithgow. Ted, I would also make an argument for Ted Danson because while the material was terrible, he still killed it in those in every season of Cheers.
I liked Ted Danson in CSI.
I like Ted Danson in The Good Place. And what was it? Becker,
yeah.
Becker.
Oh boy.
And you also like Craig T. Nelson, don't you?
Yeah, but I didn't know him in Coach. He was in The District.
Okay. I just remember him from Coach. I
think Third Rock from the Sun is a little underrated, and I think if I watched it again, I'd probably actually like it.
I would think so.
But Kelsey Grammer was really good too.
He was. Do you want to know the years?
No.
Okay.
Boy, I can't choose. You can be the tiebreaker.
I mean, we gave Frasier best comedy.
Like, and the award goes to Burt Reynolds. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Burt Reynolds is a comedy actor. No, let's go John Lithgow because I think that's the only place where Third Rock from the Sun is represented, and he was out of the. Because we've watched 2 Christmas episodes of Frasier. We've watched 1 Christmas episode of Third Rock from the Sun. And of those 3, I think I would watch the Third Rock from the Sun episode.
All right, there you have it. The namely goes to John Lithgow for his performance in Third Rock from the Sun.
Woo! I wish I would have thought to get a
Oh, you're doing
applause
Kelsey
track.
Grammer's disappointed face.
What fresh hell is this? Now, in the category of leading drama actor, we have Peter Falk as Columbo. James Earl Jones for for Gabriel's Fire. I always thought there was a saint. Christopher Lloyd in Avonlea. No idea. Tom Skerritt for Picket Fences. Again, no idea what Picket Fences is. Apparently it was popular. Dennis Franz for NYPD Blue. I believe he's the stout mustache balding man. I think that's him. We have Mandy Patinkin for Chicago Hope. Again, slept on Chicago Hope apparently because that was a big star-studded cast.
Yeah, but ER was so much better.
I can imagine. And then Andre Braugher, ripped to the max, just passed away, I think 2 months ago, for Homicide: Life on the Street.
Hey, Mandy Patinkin was in Criminal Minds for like the first season or two. He was like the main guy.
And then I want to say there's a Family Guy joke about Mandy Patinkin, or was that Psych, where old people just love
also
Mandy
has
Patinkin.
The guy from Dharma and Greg, remember?
Oh, really?
He's in
the tall guy.
Dharma and Greg, the tall guy, was in Criminal Minds for quite a long time until he got Me Too'd or whatever.
I thought you meant Chicago. I didn't realize he got Me Too'd. That would explain why they haven't rebooted Dharma and Greg.
And why he's conspicuously absent in the immediate reboot of Criminal Minds.
Is the bald guy from Chicago Hope also on Criminal Minds?
I don't know who that is.
I just Googled it. So, God, who is that guy? The Hector Elizondo. What is he known for? He's in stuff. He's the guy that you go like, oh, he's in stuff.
Oh, Elizondo? This guy. No, I don't think he was in that.
He was in a lot of stuff. Anyway, were you leaning towards Mandy Patinkin?
No, not necessarily. That's just the name I recognize. I know James Earl Jones, obviously. Other than that,
Christopher Lloyd's from Back to the Future.
Oh yeah.
Peter Falk, is Columbo.
Yeah. It's like the guy with the eye patch and the parrot or whatever, right? No.
He has a coat. He has a trench coat. That's all I know.
I don't know any of these, and I'm not invested in any of these. So for me, it's like, if you win it 4 friggin' times, I think just by default, you should be the definitive winner.
Yes. Yeah. Let's go Dennis Franz, because NYPD Blue was groundbreaking when it was on, and he was constantly praised for his role in it. Is it my turn? Yes. The namely for lead actor in the 90s goes to lead drama actor in the 90s goes to Dennis Franz, whatever. Congratulations, sir. Ooh,
for lead actress in a comedy series, we have Candice Bergen in Murphy Brown with 4 wins in the 90s, 5 if you include 1989. Kirstie Alley from Cheers, Roseanne Barr from Roseanne, and Helen Hunt from Mad About You ×3.
Roseanne Barr from The Conners.
Candice Bergen's not funny, so therefore she can't win this.
But she did. Did she not have to battle Dan Quayle over women single mother birthing rights or something?
Yeah, but she's not funny. Roseanne is hot trash. I hated the show. I didn't like her. There's just nothing about the show that I find appealing in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm. This is late era Cheers where Kirstie Alley was barely in the show. Like, you remember that Christmas episode?
Mm.
There's a pig and I have to set it free. That was her role on Cheers in that last season.
Wait, Helen Hunt is not that funny either.
But did you
kind of?
Yeah.
My mom watched that show.
Yeah, my mom watched that show too. And they were in that episode of Friends.
She played off the guy, whose name I forgot.
He's in Stranger Things. Paul McCartney. Paul
No.
Bettany. Paul Simon.
That's probably not even Paul.
No, Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser.
Yeah. Yeah, she was more of the straight man.
Yeah, she was more the straight. But she was still an actress in a comedy. I guess they're not saying she is the comedian.
True. She was the best lead actress in a comedy.
Well, I dislike Candice Bergen. I think Kirstie Alley's overall appearances were fairly limited, ripped to the max. So I gotta go Helen Hunt.
I'll support you on that one.
All right. And the namely for lead comedy actress goes to Helen Hunt. Mad About You.
And finally, for lead drama actress, we have Patricia Wettig for 30-something. Twice. Never heard of this show. Nope. Dana Delaney for China Beach. Sounds offensive. Kathy Baker for Picket Fences, 3 years. Selah Ward for Sisters. Gillian Anderson for The X-Files. Christine Leahy,
Sure.
Chicago Hope. And Edie Falco for The Surprise Sopranos, which I spelled
Sopranos. Boy,
Is it even a choice?
No, it's not a choice. It's Gillian Anderson, The X-Files, right?
Yep, I agree 100%. Although Edie Falco, Sopranos, props, Selah Ward.
Yeah, Selah Ward. I know her best for her performance in House. She had a story arc in House MD, and that was very good. But it's Gillian Anderson. I mean, it's The X-Files.
All right.
She's also a really damn good actress, too.
Yeah, she is.
I didn't even know she was British.
Yeah, until like a few years ago.
British. I think she became British a few years ago. I'm convinced that that's the case. Yeah. She is the queen or whatever, isn't she?
Oh, really?
Wasn't she in The Crown?
The last thing I remember seeing her on was the one where it was a Neil Gaiman book where they were all like sins or fates or something, and she was media.
She was in The Crown and she played
the queen.
Yeah, she's an OBE. She played Margaret Thatcher.
Oh,
Margaret Thatcher.
That's a role.
People also search for David Duchovny. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, she's been in a lot.
Margaret Thatcher.
Great Expectations. She was in the Hannibal TV series. And that was yeah.
Yes. And your turn.
Okay. Now for the Namely 90s Minute, me.
No, the award. No one actually said the.
Oh, sorry. The final Namely. I was waiting for you to do it. I was like, the final Namely for lead drama actress in the 90s goes to Gillian Anderson.
Yay!
Woo! And we did it.
All right. And tune in next year for. Well, no,
the exact same thing.
Decade.
Yeah.
All right, now let's go to Brandon for the Namely 90s Minute.
Welcome back to Namely 90s Minute. Every week we look back at a culturally relevant show, movie, or piece of pop culture that probably helps stoke the algorithm. This week, in honor of the remake of Mean Girls, we're looking back at the time Lindsay Lohan started her own remake of a classic, The Parent Trap. The Parent Trap is a 1998 romantic comedy remake of the 1961 film and the directorial debut from the director of What Women Want. The film stars the girl from Freaky Friday, the pastor from the Footloose remake, original Kate Alfred from the Handmaid's Tale movie, and Lisa Luter from Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. The story begins when Dragonheart and Maid in Manhattan meet on the Queen Elizabeth II in 1986. They wed and have twin daughters, American Lindsay Lohan and British Lindsay Lohan. But the parents divorce shortly after the birth and each take one back to their respective lives. The father on a vineyard in Napa Valley, California, and the mother back in London, England, working as a wedding dress designer. 11 3/4 years later, the Lindsays are coincidentally sent to the same summer camp and quickly become rivals, and eventually put together that these identical girls are twins separated at birth. They then decide to trade lives once they leave camp so they can meet their respective other parent. In London, American Lindsay meets her mother, their butler, and grandfather, while in California, British Lindsay meets her father, their nanny, and her father's money-grubbing fiancé with evil stepmom energy who wants to send Lindsay to boarding school once she marries into the family. British Lindsay phones American Lindsay in London to ask her to convince their mother to come to America to break up the engagement. Both Lindsays get figured out by their respective caretakers about the swap, and the butler convinces American Lindsay to tell her mother the truth. This sparks the mother to travel to America to convince the father they need joint custody of the Lindsays. While there, Lindsay 1 and Lindsay 2 try to rekindle their parents' relationship by recreating the circumstances of how they met, but on a yacht. The mother tells the father that the night they broke up, she had hoped he would have chased after her because that's how healthy relationships on the brink of divorce work. They agree on shared custody but don't rekindle the relationship because the father is engaged to be married, so the Lindsays pitch a fit and refuse to reveal who's who unless the family takes a camping trip together. During the trip, they mercilessly torture the father's fiancée until she breaks and gives the father an ultimatum, him or his daughters, which he obviously then picks the Lindsays. The parents realize they're still in love but don't choose to resume their relationship as mother and British Lindsay fly back to London. But once they get off the plane, they find the father and American Lindsay waiting for them because he didn't want to let her get away again and somehow flew faster than the other flight from the same place. The movie ends with the parents remarried and the butler and the nanny engaged. And that's The Parent Trap in a Namely 90s minute. More or less.
And now back to the show.
All right. We're just bringing back old favorites this season. I wanted to play Boot or Reboot since we were talking about TV shows. So I thought, what TV shows have they remade recently? And while Party of Five apparently had a reboot in 2020 where instead of the parents being killed in a car crash, they get deported. I couldn't find good trailers for that. So my next guess was TV shows made into movies and then rebooted. So Boot or Reboot, if you remember, is where we show Andrew two trailers, one of a 90s movie, which is most likely looks like garbage compared to today's standards, up against a more modern reboot with flashy bad CG that looks
and
better.
A bunch of nobodies. Although with this, everyone's a nobody no matter what. But
fair. But some are more fondly remembered. So we're going to be looking back at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, and the reboot Power Rangers, or Saban's Power Rangers from 2017. But let's get started. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, 1995 American superhero film starring like the second gen cast of the Power Rangers: Karen Ashley, Johnny Young Bosch, Steve Cardenas, Jason David Frank, Rip to the Max, Amy Jo Johnson, and David Yost. Let's ready for this trailer.
Let's do it.
And remember, we can stop it at any point because they're starting with skydiving. And just
my question is: it choppy on your end, or just because the zoom?
Probably the zoom. How choppy is it?
Like very, almost as if it's deliberate. Or is it like perfectly smooth?
I mean, I wouldn't say perfectly smooth, but it is smoother. The cuts aren't great.
All right, carry on.
Are you still having trouble?
It's watchable.
It's time to pay the piper.
Oh yeah, I have a news.
Let's do it, guys.
The music is bad. There's also, is this the same group that did the Diversity Christmas special? Is it?
I mean, yes, it is the same Power Rangers. I don't know if it's the same writing staff.
I meant people. Like
yes, it is
actors.
the same. It is the same actors. Yes, minus their Jewish friend.
Good.
They're morphing right now with the movie morphs.
They're morphing AF.
Have a nice trip.
Watch the birdie.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
Okay, so
that was a wire. He was on a wire.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the bad puns when they're kicking the things. My favorite being Amy Jo Johnson, Pink Ranger, gets to say, "Have a nice trip," and then she trips them with her whip thing, and then "See you next fall" as she kicks them.
I hope she says "See you next fall."
Yes, that is exactly what she says.
Gotta love it.
Taking over the world is one thing. Finding good help to run it for you, that's the killer.
There's a giant scorpion thing. Oh, this is doing the 90s thing where they show you the entire movie in the trailer.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Why are they wearing like whatever that's called?
They called it ninja outfits.
Hijabs or whatever. That's what they're wearing in this.
Yes, that is what they're wearing. They called them in the show and in this their ninja outfits.
That's the wrong culture.
It is the wrong culture, and why did I never realize that until now?
It's like the diamond on the forehead.
But clearly ninjas because their face are covered.
Man, you're ugly. Sensitive too. Let's do it. It's the Zords.
I don't remember.
Wow, this skyline. It's all just clearly made of foam. There's like two flashlights in the background.
Which the weird thing is, they didn't use the Japanese footage for this movie. This is original animation and like CG and clearly miniatures.
It is 100% a miniature.
But they have they CG the Megazord and the big monster. So why not just do the rest of the city? I mean, I guess it was 1995.
Just superimpose it on a picture of San Francisco.
Yes, I mean that is the pyramid building on the. Yeah, I mean it's supposed to be a California coastal city, but I think
it's San Fran.
Yeah,
with all those leotards and tight pants and stuff, it probably is.
True. This was also an alternate reality, Angel Grove, but enjoy the monster fight here.
Yeah, Zord Schmords, I'll crush them like roaches.
So that. Okay, you might remember when way back when we talked about Power Rangers Turbo, I was like, it took me until Power Rangers Turbo when I was like in the 3rd grade to realize that they were cutting between American footage and Japanese footage. It took me until just now to realize that they're cutting between like actual city footage and then the miniatures that you mentioned that were so clearly obvious.
And the miniatures are bad. Oh, so this song is still going on.
That's why I paused it so many times so that we can get past any copyright issues.
Now, here it comes.
That's not even Tommy's voice.
The music feels really inappropriate for the trailer. I don't know why.
Like they showed the White Ranger, and then that was Billy's.
Oh, go back to that. One frame back to the credits. Like 1 second back. Soundtrack includes songs by Red Hot Chili Peppers, Van Halen, Devo, They Might Be Giants, Shampoo, and Snap.
Yeah. I remember the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Also, they didn't capitalize hot for the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
You're right about that.
Yeah, the Red Hot Chili Peppers plays when they're either skydiving or rollerblading through town in the beginning of the episode, or movie.
So didn't Eddie Van Halen die?
I mean, they could still use his song.
No, I know. I'm just saying, rip to the max.
Yes, rip to the max. Okay. Next up, we have. Are you ready for this? Yeah. Saban's Power Rangers 2017, an American superhero film. I just need to tell you about it first.
If they use that same song, I'm gonna die.
That would be amazing if they just redid the same trailer. But they didn't. They did something completely different. Because for this one, they thought, oh, let's just make Breakfast Club but Power Rangers. Yeah. Although it says here is a reboot that loosely adapts Day of the Dumpster, the pilot episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It stars Dacker Montgomery, Naomi Scott, CJ Seiler, Becky G, Ludi Lin, Bill Hader, and Bryan Cranston and Elizabeth Banks. I'll let you figure out who plays what for those last three. Dacker was on Stranger Things as the D-bag older brother of the redhead girl. Stranger Things is good. Although you could probably wait until it's done to subscribe to Netflix and watch it. All right, ready for this? Are you ready for this?
It's morphin' time.
This is your time.
Oh, sorry. They already started doing the thing in 2017 where they show the clips from the beginning of the trailer before the trailer. Oops. Okay.
None of us really know each other.
We're all screw-ups.
But somehow, we were all in the same place at the same time when Billy found those coins. Guys, check out how we glow.
I'm blue.
Okay, maybe it was. Is it less choppy now? Because I realized I was holding onto the scroll on my.
It's a little better, but now there's a bunch of wacky noises coming from the main house.
Oh, fun. They've fallen into a pit with water and they're glowing because they found the power coins.
What? I am.
No, you're not.
No.
He's black because he's glowing. Get it?
You feel weird?
Yeah.
We're strong. Insanely strong.
The answer to what is happening to you is here. You five are the Power Rangers.
I'm just gonna stop it here. Can you guess who the face thing is?
That's Bryan Cranston. Does he also play a meth kingpin in this movie?
Unfortunately, no. He plays the original Red Ranger, who was also Zordon for some reason, and then was turned into a wall.
All right.
Did I just hear you say we're Power Rangers?
Is this some kind of joke? We're talking to a wall.
I was kind of expecting a little more.
So where were you last night?
Me and 4 kids found a spaceship buried underground. I'm pretty sure I'm a superhero.
Cool. Pee in that cup.
Pee in that
Kathy
cup.
Griffin? Sounded like Kathy Griffin.
Could have been Kathy Griffin. She's touring right now. She came through St. Louis Obispo this week.
Is she on the list of people, or is she uncredited?
Probably uncredited. Can you guess who plays Alpha 5, which is that robot there in the corner?
Bill Hader?
Yes. Are you sure it wasn't Elizabeth
Power
Banks?
Rangers were a legion of warriors. You must become
Those are the
warriors.
putties.
It's just a hologram, like a video game. That's a strong-ass hologram. Not a video game.
You were born for this.
I will destroy everything.
Pretty sure the Pink Ranger just kissed the Red Ranger there. That pissed people off.
Ooh, racy.
She is pure evil.
How do you expect us to stop her?
Oh, maybe it was the Yellow Ranger. I don't know.
Do it better than anybody you ever seen. Do it. No one man should have all that power.
The Iron Man suits.
I see that.
And I hope that's the Pink Ranger back there, because there's some cake growing on.
That's a lot of gold.
That's Goldar.
This is your destiny.
I feel like when Bryan Cranston says, "This is your destiny," that's like that's just recorded from him when he goes to the, like, cash the check. This is your destiny.
I'm your density. What?
I'm your dentist.
This is your time.
So that was a thing. All right, so I've watched both of these. So I don't know if I'm allowed to play.
If you sat me down and held a gun to my head and said, you have to watch one of these movies.
Which is the premise of this bit.
I know, I'm doing this for the listener.
Yeah.
I'd watch the second one. I'd watch the newer one.
Reason why?
I mean, I love Bryan Cranston.
Mm-hmm.
He brings something to any movie he would do, even if it's a bad movie. Like, I don't like the cheese of the original Power Rangers, which is like kind of the charm and the point of the original Power Rangers, but
fair.
I personally just don't like it. So this just looked generally more watchable, though quite cringy with some of the dialogue and all that. But it was like, before it was cringy because it was cheesy. This is cringy because it takes itself too seriously. However, it looks like the more entertaining movie.
Okay. I don't think you're wrong.
Yay!
Like, I don't even know which one I would pick between the two. Like, the first Power Rangers movie is hard to watch. And yeah, this one also hard to watch, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Your choice was Power Rangers 2017, which means I think
Reboot.
you've picked Reboot twice now, and
I think I did not pick Reboot for
Point Break.
Point Break.
Yes. But you picked it for Scream, I think. I don't remember. I should have remembered this.
I think you're right.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for this episode?
That does it.
All right, that's it for this week's edition of Namely 90s. Remember, you can find new episodes out every Monday. Find us on Bluesky, Instagram, and YouTube at Namely 90s with 90s, and tell us what you want us to talk about on future episodes. If you'd like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Namely90s, also with the 90s. Finally, you can contact us through our website, namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, and the winner is Teaser, TuneIn, iHeart, Good Pods, and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon, that's Andrew, and we'll catch you next time.
The host here is really loud and the walls are very paper thin.